And would Superintendent Sanchez is here against the bill.
Madam Chairman and members of the committee, thank y'all for the opportunity to speak this morning. I do have some statements that are prepared, and we also provided some handouts that detail the particulars of how the funds are monitored and to be expended. And so I'll begin with more of a formal piece and then move over to just address some of what's been discussed to this point. You know, I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to serve 49,000 students, 89 schools, over about 230 square miles. We have quite a few quality campuses. University High School is one of the top 5 in the United States. Tucson High School is the oldest high school in the state of Arizona, over 3,000 students, and it's a B high school. It benefits from magnet programming that draws in students and helps provide not just an integrated setting, but a high academic achievement. We also have Carrillo Elementary, which is a A school. We have Palo Verde, which is an A school that 3 years ago was a D school. And so with the support of the desegregation funding, as well as good work by a lot of willing folks, we've seen a lot of academic achievement in the area. I know prior to my arrival in Tucson Unified School District, the previous superintendent worked on a unitary status plan with the court, because it was a superintendent before him who had found out by appeal of the plaintiffs that the district was found to be back in court because it wasn't said to have followed through with the dictates of unitary status. And so I'm sure the committee understands that when you get under one of these court orders, and I've had the opportunity to work in a district in another state where we were under a court order, we were able to get out of the court order, but we're in a unitary post-status period where if we backslid, we'd be put back into the court order. We'd be put back under court supervision. And that was a continuous threat, and we had to provide annual reports on what we were doing to show that academic achievement and integration was a possibility. So where we find ourselves, we have a very strict requirement by our federal judge and Judge Burry. And what we've noted is, in the past, there may have been some level of discretion given to my predecessors and to the governing board in how these funds were used, and there may have been some discretion in how that was assigned out to schools. But I'd like to draw your attention to this document, because as you see, we're required for student assignment purposes to provide transportation, to provide advanced learning experiences, and to provide student engagement. And you can see the detailed aspects of magnet school programs, student outreach, school community services, 4-hour block interpretation, as well as all of the expenses that go with USP related transportation. One of the pieces I wanted to point out is we have academic programming across 230 square miles. And unlike Phoenix, Tucson doesn't have those freeways and fast lanes to go from one side of town to the other. And so we provide quite a bit of bus transportation for a student who may be on one side of town who wants to attend a school in another side of town but doesn't have the financial means to attend. And so we see that. I mean, University High School is over 30% Latino enrolled. That wasn't the case 15, 20 years ago. But we provide bus transportation and allow that to occur. And as I mentioned, it's one of the top 5 schools in the United States. And it's a school that is moving towards the court's designation of integration. I wanted to read what Dr. Willis D. Hawley, who is the court-appointed special master who oversees our case, issued in a letter, and you have a copy of a letter, but I wanted to read this directly from what he cited. If TUSD did not have access to the 15910G funds, it would not be possible for the TUSD to meet its obligations prescribed by the court order. This would significantly reduce the number of TUSD students who have the opportunity to attend an integrated school and would undermine initiatives to enhance the expertise of teachers and administrators, provide enhanced learning opportunities, reduce dropouts, and promote in-grade retention, increase graduation rates, academically assist struggling students, increase family engagement, and foster evidence-based decision-making throughout the district for more efficient and effective future administration. So these are from the appointee by Judge Burry, and these are his statements in his assessment of the reality with TUSD. The judge has gone on record through a subsequent court order tied to the original case in stating that what he sees is not just integration as an important lever, he sees academic achievement as the outcome factor. So it's, in his view, about equal access but equitable outcome. And so that's something that we've received in the court order from the judge that says he is monitoring academic achievement of students from different ethnic groups, and he wants to see if the vestiges of past discrimination have been addressed. And I'll end by just saying, on a very personal note, I'm less than 2 generations removed from my grandmother attending a segregated school. My mother and father were the force fit into a system that wasn't as welcoming of students from Latino backgrounds. When I went to public schools, services for kids with English language learning, those students were placed in exceptional education classrooms, and the system wasn't robust, and I graduated from high school in '93. And so I'm here as a testament that it takes time. It takes time. 2 generations ago, my grandmother never graduated from high school. 1 generation ago, my mother graduated from high school, but my father didn't. In this generation, I've been blessed and fortunate, and it's through the grace of God we go often, that I've been able to achieve a terminal degree in education. And I do that work because I understand the power of education on a very personal level. And this court case and these funds recognize that. And so I hope that this fine committee will find in its heart that to sustain these funds would be to help address deficit practices of the past for an investment for a better future for children who at some point in time may be so fortunate and honored to have the seats that you have at the point in time and when you feel you've had enough fun and don't want to have them anymore. Thank you so much, and I'd be more than willing to take any questions.
Thank you. Members, any questions?
And so to move past the vestiges of segregation, it's not easy, it's not quick, it's not cut and dry. It's very complicated because you're working with history, you're working with people's emotions and the complexity of law and the oversight of a governing board, a state, and a federal government, as well as plaintiffs who are within the community, and those community eyes and voices matter. I'm feeling optimistic and hopeful that there will be a good outcome for the families and students of Tucson Unified School District.
To the differences between education spending and prison spending, and they're inversely proportionate in terms of their growth or decline. But this is an issue altogether apart from that. This is an issue in which there are districts like TUSD that is currently under a court order from a federal judge, which we may disagree with strongly, which we may find doesn't necessarily have much in common with reality, but they are under a court order. They have been under a court order. It's a 40-year situation. They're trying to get out from under a court order, and once they're out from it, they'd be happy to tail down their funding. We've heard testimony to that effect from TUSD.
Real money. I do believe that there are some special circumstances, as we've heard today in our testimony, that we need to take a look at. Because if there are school districts that are still under their court orders, and we would be phasing out that money before the order is lifted, we may run into some legal issues at the legislature. So
aren't really that impacted, but every other classification is. Residential rental, commercial, everything else, and the state general fund through our finance system is exposed with this. In 2000, November of 2000, we all voted on Prop 301. That was the